All right, welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and I'm going to take you back 5 years ago where it was simpler times in the Dragon Ball Super card game. And the reason why I'm taking you so far back is because of the anniversary box. So I talked about the best cards, or at least 5 that you should not sleep on in the last video, and now I'm going to be talking about one of the archetypes, which is based on the set 2 Vegito. That is right, the multicolored red leader, which is no surprise with this last set, Dawn of the Z Legends, and as well as anniversary box, where red just gets better. And I guess this is like a multicolored deck, but really at the core of it, you just get to play a lot of Vegitos, and it's really cool because we've been waiting for a deck like this. Now, you saw the title. I don't know if this is tier 1, but you get to do a lot of things with this deck. You get to awaken early, basically on turn 2. On turn 3, you get to Z awaken with no conditions compared to pretty much any other Z awaken leader. And in that, you get to draw 2 and get rid of the stuff that's in your hand by bottom decking. You get to remove something with barrier, even though it gets back to hand, but that's no big deal. And then you have something that gives you 8-drop Vegitos for free at no cost outside of having a Z battle card that is a Vegito. It is actually nuts. I'm very glad that we do have maybe 1 or 2 Vegito Z battle cards because of it, but it's crazy. Now let's look at the cards that I've talked about before really quick. The first one is going to be the Z leader, but before that is the actual leader. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't been around for some reason, this guy has a permanent where all of your Goku and Vegeta cards that have that, title, not the BR or whatever, Broly or any of those, you have red, blue, and green colors. So you have all of those colors. Even if it's a yellow color, you gain those colors as well, as treated those as those colors. The auto is that you get to mill something. If it's red, then you get plus 5k. Obviously with the Goku and Vegetas, those are going to be really easy to get. And then for a less, you get to draw 2, not untap 1, but draw 2. The other side is that you get to draw 1. And if you have 10 or more Son, Goku, and Vegeta cards in your drop area, you get to get 5k power and double strike, which was pretty good back then. It was just took forever to get, and after about set 3 it became antiquated. Like, not really too many people actually did too much with this leader, but you got support because it is Goku and Vegeta, which are the most not only supported but also the most like well-known characters. So like in this card game, obviously you want to push the most well-known character. It's going to be Goku and it's going to be Vegeta, but for some reason it was missing something. It was too slow. It was just not that great. It didn't feel good to actually play. And now we have the Z leader, which basically fixes everything that was wrong with the deck. It's called Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, a new look. And this guy has double strike for whatever reason. It only takes 1 Z energy, which is crazy because on either turn you can just combo and you're set. It takes 1 energy, red energy, so you can obviously use a Goku Vegeta, or you can use any of the red cards in your deck. You still have the same permanent, and again, you get to play a Vegito on top of a Vegito, 8 cost, on top of a Z battle card, which we're going to look at in a second, and then draw 2 and get rid of something with barrier, which is just great. Basically, those 2 things are free, and as long as you have 3 or more energy, which is usually where you want to Z awaken anyway, you're good to go. Again, this kind of fixes everything with the leader. You don't have to interact to draw. You don't have to do anything too crazy, and it's just really nice. The other card is the 1 cost Vegito card, which again, I talked about this before. It has deflect, which is big. The only thing that really gets around it is are things like the U7 Goku that minuses 15k, or Frieza, like the Frieza counterplay, things that target around deflect but still target the card. But if you have 3 or more colors in your Z energy, it gains barrier. So later in the game where you're comboing off these Goku and Vegito cards, which is pretty common honestly, you'll be able to get barrier and deflect, which is really, really good. The auto says you look at the top 7, you get a Vegito card, no cost, by the way, so you can get the secret if you really wanted to. And then you place 1 card at the bottom of your deck if you did grab one. The other activate main, which is going to be the first copy of this card that you're going to be playing, is that you send this out of the game and then you flip your leader and draw 2 cards. This is really good. So first thing, the Z leader with this 1-drop Z battle card, you get to play any of the 8 drops, which includes, again, the secret, includes the Savior, the dual attack critical double striker, which is a really old but cool card. You can play the paralyzing prowess, which has triple strike and barrier, which all of these you can play. And not only that, you still have all of these other Vegito cards that have been given support, or the Bandai has given support in the card game for Vegito, and still play it with all of these really good cards. Now, before we take a look at the list, please go ahead and go into the description below. I am still holding the free Circuit Series webcam games pretty much every Sunday at 4 o'clock Pacific. So if you are interested, please go ahead and register for them, join the Discord, and just have some fun. Not everyone plays Red Sin, so don't worry. So let's talk about the list for a second. So basically what it comes down to in this deck is that turn 1, you can play any of these 1-cost cards. Preferably your turn 1 is going to be polymorphic Batora, which basically says that you can play 2 1-cost Vegeta and Goku cards with 2 costs, 2 or less basically, but usually the 1 cost in rest mode. And then you can't attack with them obviously, but you use a Resolve Combine, which is a previous anniversary box back in 2020 where you get to free Batora and draw 2 cards. The other part of that is that later into the game, at any point, you can play a 7-drop on top of it, which is going to be the Hyper Rush. It's pretty much the only one that you want to play anyway, for 2 energy. So some cool stuff where you can either let them attack, you can bean on 1 energy and then pay 2, and then use Hyper Rush to remove something that they're attacking with, or even snipe a card out of their hand. Because Hyper Rush does say for both of those things you can do that. But that's usually your turn 1 play. Turn 2 play is going to be the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, or Super Saiyan 1 Vegito, where you're going to have to go ahead and awaken from there. And then again, polymorph Batora or any of the 1-drops can easily get you there as far as using the extra energy. And then from there, you just Z awaken like we were saying before on 3 energy, and then use this again in order to play an 8-drop, which again, the 8-drop sort of lineup that I have here is going to be the 8-drop the Savior, which is back in the old expansion, I think the first expansion actually, and the Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, which is just a nice barrier boy for triple strike and 35k. They're just really not going to remove it. You don't get the auto, but it is really annoying to deal with. And then we also have the 8-drop, which is just dumb at the very least to say, where you can tap 4 of their cards down and then draw 4 cards, which is just nice. But the only thing to really take note of is that if this permanent is active, if they have 6 or more cards in rest mode, this is no longer an 8-drop. It is a 5-drop from there. So just keep that in mind, so that you just have to use it pretty much the first thing that you do in the turn. We do have some red staples and some normal cards as well, because everything else sort of just runs as is, right? So you need as many as good Goku and Vegito targets that you have, or that you can have. This is cool because obviously it's good against blue, and Resolve Renew is also kind of a red staple at this point, removing Mecha Frieza or any of these combo starters, or like archetype starters that I like to call, coming up in this new set 19 format, and as well as the old ones. This is really good for all of that. And then we also have Saiyan Synergy, which is cool because now you're playing Bean and you're also playing this, where it is a double Bean. It basically negates 2 attacks because you're playing this in rest mode, and then if they can't remove it, then they have to attack this. If they attack your leader, then you get that plus 5,000 after that as well. We play the Beerus because you're almost never going to have 4 life unless you choose to do so, right? So the red and yellow, obviously, or red and yellow effects basically is where if your card the card that you do reveal is red, which most of this deck is, except for the Vegito stuff and the Broly, you get to add it to your hand, and you still get that 5k combo, which is effectively a 10k combo. Usually you won't get the yellow to minus something 5k, but it is pretty nice if you did include some yellow Goku Vegeta cards. You do want to defend early, at least from what I found, because it's just better that way in order to keep your life as a resource. And to mention polymorphic Patora, where you can just go into Hyper Rush and then take 2 cards out of your life anyway, especially if you want to go down to 5 from 7 and just use the testing opposition. I think Violent Rays is still pretty good. Doesn't feel good to use it most of the time, but when it does come up, it is really good. So like if you're going against Sin, Gogeta, whatever it may be, Violent Rays is going to be the play. Obviously Gogeta, you can't Violent Rays on the first attack, so that's a bummer, but whatever. And then we also have some other tech choices like Hyperspeed, Rush. All you really need is a Mono Red Saiyan, which you are, and if you have 3 or more energy, you get to draw one, and it's a 15k double striker, which again, you can have the activate main if you really wanted to minus something 20k and get this card to have 20k double strike instead. So it's just a really good card, not only in Pan, but just in general, just a really good red card, which is the ongoing thing. Not to mention, we do have Crown and Retribution. I played 2 of these in one turn and then double bean on a Vegito the Savior, and it just felt bad for the opponent, right? Like I won on 7 or 8 life because of these type of cards, just not having restrictions on life and not really having restrictions, and you're just so far ahead with these Vegitos, and as well as awakening early and your Z Awaken leader to keep your opponent's board clear, along with Dark Broly, which you just have 6 and drop because of the Patora targets, and as well as Polymorphic Patora, you just end up having those things into your drop. So it's pretty cool. More tech choices like the Omega Shenron. This reads where if you have a red Z leader, you don't have restrictions on your Z leader. I can't express that enough. It's just stupid. But you can Z Awaken at 80 point. If you have 3 or more energy, which you're just going to want to have in this deck anyway, you get to pay 2 and then play this guy for deflect, double strike, and then use the activate battle. If your leader is if your leader is a Z leader, you get to choose something with a unison or battle card and minus a 30k, which is just silly. It's just honestly silly. The rest is pretty normal with Topo thrown in there. I've used Topo maybe once in the last dozen games or so, but he is there. So if you don't want that, at least you can use it for Z energy, or you can just take it out for another tech card. And then we also have Rush Attack Vegeta. It's just one of the best 2-drop Z battle cards that you can have. It's either going to be this or the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and I think this is pretty much what you want to do. 1 of the Z leader and then 4 of the Vegito, because you want to resolve this as much as possible. Just know they're going to be probably decking out quite often, so just as a quick heads up. All right, that was it. If you want to see gameplay, just get this video to 50 likes or something, or at least comment below so I know. If you did skip to the deck list and then listen for a little bit and then close out the video, well, you know what I say, your mom's a hoe, right? I'm just kidding. Like, dislike, subscribe if you are new. Thank you for supporting me and my videos, and hopefully this was a good one. I'll see you in the next one.